Hi, welcome to Turn-Based Besties, a podcast where two grown adults with no free time talk about their favorite RPGs. I'm Sam.
And I'm DJ, and we're besties that love to game together.
That is right.
Yeah,
So this will be kind of our year in review for ourselves,
pr-
best of 2024
pretty
underscore
much.
that we played in
Yeah, we
2024.
that we played. Yeah, it'll be our second to last episode of this year's season, which is pretty cool.
Whoop!
Whoop whoop,
We're gonna
coming
have a
in
season.
at I know, right? I don't know. I guess I keep saying season, but we kind of just went like an entire year. I guess that's a season. That's a season, right?
Sure. It's an entire year. I can't believe it. We've been doing it for a whole year. Big things.
Yeah, 6 years in a movie. Uh,
We do. We were talking about kind of like the plan for the next year, and
I
we'll see how that
know.
goes.
I know. Let us know if you want to watch us on YouTube or, TikTok if that's not going to get banned or like whatever.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good.
I,
But anyway, what have you been up to? Did we talk about Thanksgiving on the last pod?
no, because it was
No.
before. We
Okay.
had it before. Yeah. Max and I, we stay up here in Seattle for Thanksgiving, just the two of us. So we get up early. Max gets up earlier than I do. And we make food all day. That's it. We make a turkey. Like we actually do a turkey just for the two of us. So let me walk you through the menu, reminding you that it was just the two of us.
Okay.
So,
Just the two of us.
so we start with making beer bread in the morning and a mincemeat pie.
Love it. Love it.
And then I think we started on the turkey. Max spatchcocked the turkey this year.
Oh,
And we, of course, accidentally ended up getting a 15-pound turkey just for the two of us. Nice. Cool. We like sandwiches, I guess. Cool. Um, then I made a green bean casserole and I made a corn casserole, which is essentially like corn pudding without
I
the
love it.
sugar.
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
I like corn cow. Yeah.
I like corn casserole too. It was still sweet because corn is naturally sweet, but it wasn't the corn pudding because we didn't put maple syrup and like extra
Oh.
sugar in there.
Yeah.
And then mashed potatoes, and then sweet potatoes, and homemade cranberry sauce. Max does that. I think that's it, but it's just so funny that we're like, wow, we made all this food and it's just the two of us, and we make it for servings of like 4 to 6 people.
Yeah. That sounds
So,
great. That sounds nice. I like cooking if you have the time and no children running around like crazy and whatever. It can be very relaxing.
yeah, it's a fun time. It's been,
However, I'm imagining now if I were in your all's kitchen and I were cooking, I feel like I would just feel the daggers of Max's eyes staring at me every time I did something and made a mess. Love you,
oh,
Max. But how was that?
accurate description. Really, quite astute.
I might be murdered before I was done cooking, I think.
No, it's fine. We just remember that it's a kitchen and sometimes it's made to get messy while we're in the middle of cooking. You know?
Well, that's a good mindset. That's a good mindset.
Yeah. It's
Well, that sounds
super
awesome.
super fun. What about you guys? Did you guys have family over?
Yeah, so we did have family over, a lot of family. We had family from both sides. Some of Taylor's family, some of my family, and that was really nice. And we fried a turkey. So I helped with that, and then everybody else brought things. I don't know. We had mashed potatoes, we had turkey, cranberry sauce, um, shrimp cocktail for kind of an appetizer. We had three different pies. We didn't make any of them. We just ordered them.
Whatever.
Um, Oh gosh, there was more than that. Rolls and
Melanie made something special, right?
oh, Melanie wasn't with us this
No.
time.
Oh, Hannah. Sorry,
Hannah
Hannah.
was. Hannah was. Oh gosh, what did Hannah make?
Am I making this up? I thought I
Oh
saw photos.
no, I'm sure she made something, and now I can't remember. Oh no, she made the like apple tart pastry cheese brie apple pastry deal.
Cool.
Thank goodness I remembered that. It was excellent. Good job, Hannah.
Good job.
No, but it was so good. So that was all great. But yeah, there's definitely, juggling craziness with kiddos around, but that is nice. my kiddo stories for the episode will be that trying to think of some good ones. Uh, just even today, I just added one. So Jay went to the zoo today with Leo,
Oh,
which is what they call Taylor's mom, grandma. And it was so funny. He was talking about all the different animals they saw. And then at one point, he was talking about, he's like, and we saw a big tiger. And I said, and what does the tiger say? Or what did the tiger say? And I thought, he would say roar or whatever. And he just kind of looks at me puzzled and says, Daddy, the tiger didn't say anything. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just walked around and you watched it was just tiger.
wow.
And I was like, okay, great. Thanks, bud.
Daddy, the
So,
tiger doesn't speak English.
yeah, it didn't say anything. It just walked around, Dad.
Oh my
Anyway, so
God.
that's the 3-year-old Jay, which that was wonderful. He he's a lot of fun. Driving around with him is fun too. When I'm driving around, I'll try to talk to him some, and he'll commonly nod. And I'm driving. I am looking forward so we do not crash. So I
Yes.
don't know if he nods to the thing I asked him, but he doesn't realize that he should verbalize it and say it aloud. So he thinks that a nod is okay. And then one time he didn't even nod. I was like glancing up in the rear view. He didn't even nod. And I was like, Jay, did you hear me? And he goes, yes, I answered you in my head, Daddy. And I was like, oh, okay, wonderful. Yeah, good. Okay.
Oh, good. Yeah. You just got
I
like a little
really,
telepath on your hands.
yeah, I just need to be able to know what's in your head, which kind of tracks actually with them. That tracks. And then the last thing, so In is losing a lot of teeth right now. We're in the tooth fairy losing teeth phase. In will recently or very soon, I mean, have both of her top front two teeth gone. So that'll be cute. One of them is
Oh.
hanging on by a thread. But she lost one of the top front teeth, and she put it in um her or she put it under a pillow. I'm
Hmm.
I'm talking more quietly now because she's right upstairs in
Oh,
dear
sure.
she could hear some things. So I should go quiet,
Of
covert
course.
mode.
Anyway,
Anyway, let me get
okay.
close here. We'll
Nice.
do some ASMR.
ASMR.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Anyway, um, but I walked into her room and we had put it in a baggie so that it'd be easier to find.
Yeah, like
The bag
drugs.
yeah, exactly. The baggie is pinched between her knees and held tight. She's asleep. I don't know how she's doing this. So I very quickly try to pull the tablecloth off from underneath the dishes, kind of like really fast. Just pull it really fast. It's fine. She doesn't wake up. Great.
Okay.
The tooth is no longer in the bag.
Uh-oh.
She has removed it. And I'm like, oh no, where is it? But I check underneath the pillow and it's so cute. And she put it just right in the middle underneath the pillow. And there's the tooth. So I was able to do the swap really, really quickly.
Thank
It was,
goodness.
it was very cute. It was very
Great.
wonderful.
I'm glad that I'm leaning in right now to hear you, even though I have headphones on and I don't need to lean in to hear you. And I'm also whispering just in case.
Is it audible? Is this good?
Yes, that's
Did we just
perfect.
lose, did we just lose everybody that was listening?
Yes, now they
Okay,
can
good.
hear
Okay,
us again.
back to
Great.
regular. Back to regular.
Excellent. Good.
Okay. Anyway, so those are the stories of the kiddos though for today. It's been a fun few weeks.
I love your kiddo stories. I'm gonna love stories with you and Taylor and Sam. Taylor and Sam, you're Sam. You and Taylor, because y'all are coming up to see apples in a little over a month.
Yeah, it looks like we are. We're planning on just at the very beginning of February, right?
Yeah, well, January 31st, I think technically. That's the
See,
Friday.
yeah, see, this is where we disagree. I think it's the first and the second are the Saturday, Sunday. So I say we're coming up in February. You like to say we're coming up at the end of January.
But you're literally flying up on like 8 a.m. on the 31st. You're gonna have an entire day here.
Whatever, whatever. We will be mostly there. That weekend is a February weekend.
It's a February weekend for sure, but you're
Good.
flying up.
We're in agreement.
Great, perfect, awesome. I'm less excited to see you now, but
Okay, anyway, what are we focusing on today? What are we talking about, DJ?
today we are going to talk about our favorite games that we played in 2024. So Sam and I went back and forth on should we have a list of just games that we played in 2024 that were also released in 2024, or should we just do a mixture? And I think we decided that it would be most true to our brand, to the podcast, that if we did our top 5 games, each of us having our top 5 games of games that we played in 2024, regardless if whenever they were released.
Because sometimes you just get to the game when you get to the game.
It's
Sometimes
true.
you sometimes it's not a day one game play for you because you can't do it. Not because you wouldn't want to, but just because you can't.
Right? Yep, yep, yep.
And that's what we're
So
leaning into.
yeah, so we're talking about our top 5, our personal top 5 games of 2024. Some of them were absolutely released this year, and some of them are quite a bit older.
Yeah. Speaking of, if I'm going to start,
Hell
my
yeah.
number 5 is quite a bit older, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So my number 5 was Mother 3 that we played this year.
Yeah.
Such a great game and definitely a top game for me this year, but definitely not from 2024. So what
No.
did I like about this game? What was so memorable and fantastic for me was, for one, the themes. I really enjoyed the themes. They juxtaposed the serious, life and death things inside your family, also with the absurd. There were
Mm-hmm.
so many absurd things. The chimera, creatures that were mixing of different animals or mixing of the mechanical with the biological. There was LGBTQ plus representation with the Magypsies. And there was just so many cool kind of included themes there. It really holds up over time, I would say, story wise, gameplay wise for the most part. And then the visuals are fun. If you do sprite work visuals in a good way with a fun color palette, like you're gonna still like watching that and looking at it, right?
Yeah.
The turn-based mechanics, they have some interesting elements that are different and unique and novel. The rhythmic aspects of the timing is pretty unique. The HP bar dropping over time after hits. The different types of attacks were pretty unique there. For my take, it wasn't tactical enough. There wasn't enough synergy between the different party members, probably, to really, sink my teeth into the battle mechanics. But that's kind of not what it was for as much. Probably more about the thoughtfulness and the story. So yeah, everything was very thoughtful. Like the anagrams about the names, the musical modes for all the Magypsies, and the story was so heartfelt. Just kind of really stabs you right in the gut. You
Oh,
care for all the characters, and then that last battle, kind of the way you do that final battle, I mean, that'll stick with me forever.
yeah.
That's not what you're expecting. Normally, I'm used to the 3, 4, 5 part mega battle against a god at the end of a JRPG, and that's not what that game was for. That game was for really, making an emotional, sentimental point at the end, and it was beautiful.
It was thoughtful. It was a really thoughtful, intentional last battle.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that I appreciated that. And I think a game that you can know you're going to remember for years and years and years to come, that's a great game.
Yeah. I get the hype now behind it, you know?
Oh, totally. I see why it's a cult classic, but something more.
Yeah. I'll be excited when it's re-released on modern platforms someday. I bet it will. I bet it will happen.
Yeah, it has to. Yeah.
It's got to at this point.
Switch 2.
You know, probably. I love that you and I both our number 5s are old games that are both old Game Boy Advance games. So mine is Fire Emblem, sometimes called Fire Emblem Blazing Blades. I am reminded whenever I play a Fire Emblem game or a Fire Emblem type of game that I actually really like a tactical role playing game. I think I just like the positioning aspect of it. I wouldn't, for someone like me who does like the story aspect a lot of RPGs, you don't necessarily get an awesome story with every tactical role playing game. But I like the gameplay aspect of that. So I think I'm broadening my horizons, Samuel.
Oh, beautiful.
I know.
Wonderful.
I really also enjoyed the different classes that you could be in Fire Emblem. I think that if anybody listened to our Fire Emblem episode, the fact that I'm including it in my top 5 games, I think speaks volumes because, one, the game is over 20 years old, it's on a handheld device, and most importantly, I didn't end up finishing the game because of saving over progress.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
So sad. But I think I put about 22 hours into it, which is
Yeah.
really really just kind of chat my ass that I couldn't finish the game because that's enough time that dedicated that I was invested into the story and into the characters and to the gameplay. I so one of these days in a couple years I'll probably return and actually play it all the way through because I liked that for such an old game there were also a number of different paths that you could take. Like you can play the game. What I'm trying to say is it's not a completely linear game.
No, there's a lot of replayability that I think is legit there with Blazing Blade. I
Yeah.
I really agree. And I guess I really liked playing an older, it's not that much older. It's not like it's the first Fire Emblem game, but it's a
Right.
lot older.
Mm-hmm.
And I most of my experiences with more modern Fire Emblem games, but seeing kind of the bare bones and what's still part of that core Fire Emblem gameplay is there.
Yeah.
And it's almost more like you have to be more intentional and thoughtful from a game developer standpoint when you have smaller board or smaller maps and smaller
Mm-hmm.
whatever else, that each one kind of felt like a problem to solve rather than
Yeah.
a more open world, which I really liked. So there was a lot that I really liked about that game too. It was a great one, and I won't be talking about it today, but that's not because I didn't like it a lot. So
You're right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
maybe I just wasn't thinking about it when I made this list, but
yeah.
but it was a good one.
No,
Well,
same to you when when you were talking about Mother 3, I was like I did like that game. It didn't make my top 5, but darn it, it probably could have made my honorable mentions.
yeah, exactly. These are great. There's a lot of good games we played.
Yeah.
Am not far off if we go to my number four. Because it is also a Fire Emblem game, but mine would be Fire Emblem Engage. So this
Yeah.
technically came out in 2023. I played it in 2024 at the beginning of the year. It is a wonderful strategy RPG or tactical RPG as well.
Hmm.
I think I really liked the main thing, if I think back, is just the depth of gameplay. And I'm noticing that more when I play more recent games, some of the Persona ones, even Metaphor, like just noticing the number of systems and the different things I can tinker with in a Fire Emblem game. I really appreciate that in the gameplay. So, the positioning. So you're on this map. There's the positioning that where do you go to, how far do you go, but also are you next to one of your characters and do you have a bond with them that gives you some sort of buff? That's huge. Class types. There's like 35 characters, which with I think 69 different classes. So that's a huge variability there. You can inherit abilities from the different classes onto different characters that will give them additional skills. There's the weapon triangle, so like the break system of the spears, lances, swords, axes, all those things, as well as magic versus armored and bows doing extra damage against flying enemies. So there's all these different things you have to think about with which enemy is going to attack another enemy. The hub world was awesome in this one for me. So it's called the Somnio. You can go around and upgrade your weapons and collect different items and increase your bonds with people. There's a bunch of things. Engrave weapons, make rings, which are special accessories in this game. So there's all these things you can do. The music, I always like Fire Emblem music. It's these orchestral, upbeat, bombastic themes that really will keep you going during an hour-long battle sometimes, which is great. So, top to bottom for me, Fire Emblem Engage was a fantastic Fire Emblem game. I think some people it fell short, but probably that's more story based. And for me, it's very gameplay based, and that's why it resonated with me.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. I didn't get very far into it, but you really liked it.
Do
I
you think it
might,
was the story more than anything? Because I think the gameplay was spot on.
you know, I think I like a lot of folks. I my first Fire Emblem was Three Houses, so I liked the gameplay aspect a lot of Three Houses, and I felt like which I am coming to understand was kind of not your most typical Fire Emblem game.
Yeah.
But since it was my first, that's all I know. That's all I knew. So the fact that they kind of they went back to the triangle thing for emblem and for engage, it just wasn't my favorite.
Three Houses is like Fire Emblem Persona.
It kind of is. It kind of
It's
is.
Schoolhouse Fire Emblem.
but I liked that I wasn't a student. I liked that I was a professor because that's also literally what I am as well.
Except
So,
all your other characters are students. It's really different.
hey, shut up. Whatever, man.
Anyway,
Whatever.
but I love Three Houses too. No shade, no shade here. But
Yeah.
anyway, that was my number four. What is your number four?
Number four, Dragon Quest III HD 2D. I'm just, I think about 15 hours into it, and I'm having a blast. I love that you get to essentially like hire out, quote unquote, hire out, but you create your other three party members.
Okay.
And yeah, and then after level 20, if you don't like them, you can actually, I think even before then, you can just create other people. Like if you're like, I don't like that person, you can create a new character to go with you. They start back at level 1,
Oh,
but you know, if
surely
I
there's like a rubber banding with the XP and they'll catch right up or something.
well, when you're fighting, when you're in a cave that a recommended level is like a level 18, you bring a level 1 person in that they're going to level up pretty quickly.
Yeah, yeah.
And rubber banding, I like that term. There is that rubber banding after you switch classes, so you can optimize. I think you'd like this about Dragon Quest
Okay.
3. So, let's say one of your characters starts out as a priest, and then
Okay.
at level 20, after a couple of other story things happen, you can reclass that priest to say, let's be a warrior. They keep all of their priest spells and abilities.
Oh,
And now they just start to become a warrior, and then they add
they're a warrior priest. They're a
warrior
like
priest, which in that way you're
cleric paladin-y thing.
kind of creating a paladin in that way.
But do the stats work okay? The magic-y priesty stuff, does that do okay with the fighting?
When you switch classes, the people who have done this might get onto me if I get this backwards. When you switch classes, you go back to level 1
Okay.
and your stats are decreased by 50%. So your stats don't go back to level 1. Your stats go back
Oh.
to like level 10.
Oh, cool.
So and again, there's kind of that rubber band effect. I'll use the term that you use. So
I
your
think it's
folks,
mostly used in racing games, but I kind of like to use it here.
I kind of like it too. Your now under leveled party members level up again pretty quickly.
Cool.
But yeah,
Okay.
so yeah, if you don't like that you are a priest, you don't have to be stuck with them. You can
That's awesome.
yeah. I think the HD 2D look, I'm not done. I'm not done with it. I'm not tired of it at
I'm
all.
not either. I I don't know if I'm gonna get tired of it.
I don't think I will. I saw an article a couple months ago that was like, all right, we're exiting out of our HD 2D era, and I disagree. I don't think
Maybe
we are.
you are.
Yeah, stupid article that's probably written by really nice people. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not out of it. I like it.
I'm not out of it at all. So the graphics are great. The music is classic Dragon Quest music. So I say classic like I'm some like Dragon Quest expert. I've only played Dragon Quest 11, but it's all
More than
essentially
me.
the right. It's essentially the same. A lot of the same tunes that get to come back reorchestrated for every game.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so
kind
it's
of fun. That's nostalgic. I like it.
yeah, it totally is. I love that in the beginning you have to take kind of this quiz, but it's a quiz that makes sense within the context of the story, and it gives you one of 40 different personalities, and then those personalities determine your stat growth.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And then, if you don't like the personality that you have, you can wear certain charms or accessories that will temporarily alter your personality, which will then again alter your stat growth. But I don't really care too much about that's kind of like metagaming it at that point. I didn't really care too
Yeah,
much.
the
I just kind of
character
want to
is
see
who
where
they
it
are.
is. Exactly. I go back and forth on the monster taming, catching aspect in some games. It's here. It's new for this remake, and I kind of like it.
Okay.
It's a class. Monster Wrangler is a class where you start. It's kind of blue magey in a way,
Yeah, yeah.
in some sense, and then also the monsters that you catch go to an arena where you can have them fight other monsters for money and weapons and stats and everything.
I wonder if that pops up. Do they have characters like that in other Dragon Quest games that you're aware of, or? Do you know? Because the monsters are similar between Dragon Quest games too, right? The
Yes.
slime, whatever. So I
Yeah.
can imagine for fans of the series that that class is super fun, right?
I
To these
bet.
baddies that you've fought against in every game, and now you can use them for their abilities to it. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a unique way in how they do it. It's not like you don't like throw slime or throw Raven or anything at them, right? But it's unique how you gain these animal skills, and some of them are pretty hard hitting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's great. So, what about your number three, Sam?
Well, real quick on last thing. I'm ruining the transition for Dragon Quest though. I did watch some other person talk about their favorite HD 2D, and they put the Dragon Quest remake over Octopath, and it was all the games we love, like Live Alive and Octopath being like my top tier.
Mm-hmm.
When they put that over the top, they seemed like they were my people when I was watching the rest of their list, and then they put it up there, and it made me very interested in playing it. So
Oh,
I'm definitely on board, and we'll try to get into it when I can.
I
But
think yeah.
anyway, sorry. So my number three, as you were saying, is Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC Future Redeemed. So again, another one that was technically from 2023, and I played it in 2024. I love this game. So back in 2022, I believe, when the original, the non-DLC Xenoblade Chronicles 3 came out, that was one of my top games that year. I love that. And then this allowed me to kind of jump back in. And I really dug that. Jump back into the world and the battling and everything. So yeah, it's a little bit different if anybody hasn't played Xenoblade games. It's kind of the battle system can be almost like an MMO where you'll do auto attacks and you position yourself around the enemy characters, and you can have field effects that and different moves that you make, and they kind of synergize with one another, and it's actually really fun. I find myself playing with the healer buffing class more than the damage dealing ones, because then I can kind of tinker with all the field effects and all the buffs that I'm putting on everybody, and it seems to be way more powerful to do that than to play with one of the big hitters. And it's a lot of fun to still do that. So it's kind of shocking to me. I would think I'd want to be somebody that hits hard, but no, like playing somebody that heals and puts buffs on everybody is actually a blast and very powerful. So that's kind of fun. So you have that aspect of it, and then you also have kind of a turn-based part when you go into these chain attacks, where you'll pick specific attacks that you attack the bad guy for, and it gives you, based on which attack you do, will give you different points. There's a whole mini game to it. But basically, you have the overworld MMO battling, and then you have these turn-based chain attacks, which are really fun. Yeah, it's very customizable. There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
depth of gameplay, as I mentioned. There's plenty of different accessories and gems, which are like accessories you can craft, and you can choose all the different arts and attacks that you equip to each character that they'll attack the bad guys with. And you can add different skills, and you can upgrade your weapons. And there's just so many different things you can tinker with. Exploration is super fun. This is something I found myself thinking through these lists. I found that I really enjoy is when you can explore, but also everything you find, everything you do is meaningful. It does something for you. You can the stuff you collect, you can craft something with it. You can
Mm-hmm.
spend it to increase your stats or to buy something. And so that is definitely here in the Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed DLC. And let's see here. And then yeah, so there's the variability of enemies is also kind of cool. So there's just normal bad guys. You'll see the level above all the bad guys, which is cool. And then the banner next to the level will also have kind of no colors, or it'll be blue, which means it's an even a more powerful version of that bad guy, or it will be like kind of a gold yellow, which means it's a unique enemy, and those ones are extremely powerful. And so and you can get better items for killing them. So you can kind of pick and choose if you want to attack the stronger ones or you don't. So that's kind of nice. And then story wise, I actually really dig the story. It's different characters than was in the non DLC, but it's fun and interesting, and I like the characters. And sadly, since I've only played Xenoblade 3, it apparently ties up one and two all together in a nice package and brings in characters from those games, but I never play those games yet. So it doesn't hit as well for me as I think it does for so many folks that are long time Xenoblade fans. But
No,
overall, love the gameplay, love the exploration, love the story, and it is a good one for me.
nice.
And DJ, I'm assuming Xenoblade is not on your list because
It's
you've thrown some disparaging comments Xenoblade's way in the past.
have I? I just
I
it's
think you
just
called it. I think you. The main thing that I remember is I think you called it Xenobro once.
I
Does
hope
that
I
sound like
did.
you?
I
Does that
mean,
sound like you?
it does sound like me, yeah.
Which is kind of a hilarious thing to think of somebody picking certain JRPGs as being too cool and too bro compared to other JRPGs.
I literally don't remember saying that, and I hope I said that. That sounds intentionally bitchy on my part. So
I remember hearing it and being shocked. I was like, wait, am I a broy JRPGer? Maybe I am.
maybe you are.
I mean, I guess I kind of am. What am I talking about this whole time? I'm talking about gameplay and stats and stuff like that and not the story. So I am.
It's fine.
If the shoe fits.
My little RPG bro.
Anyway, so what is your number three?
My number three is a little shocking because a week ago I would not have listed this in the top five because I did not play it. I just beat it last night. Beloved Rapture.
You beat it in the
So
last week?
yeah, it's
That's
a
awesome.
fairly fast game. I think 22 hours is what I came to. I didn't do every single side quest. I never do, but
Yeah.
I'm sure you can
That's
extend it.
relatively short. That's good.
Yeah, it's a retro style SNES vibes game. It's fairly simple turn-based action. You can do a classic or story mode. I did story mode because I knew I wanted to review it or do it like this tiny baby mini review because we might actually do this, later on the pod. And I did story mode, which means you heal after every battle, which is not uncommon in a lot of video games these days anyway.
I like those kind. Yeah.
I do too. It's really beautiful sprite work. I think this is one of those mini games these days that was a team of one or a team of very few
Oh my God.
who did it. It is a labor of love by the developer. I feel like the game has been in, I will lovingly say, development hell for a long time. So it was nice to finally see it released. I interacted with the developer for a few comments on Reddit. They seemed like a really awesome human. So if we ever do a full on review on the podcast, I'll reach out and see if we can interview him.
That sounds awesome.
Because that would
I
be
should play it
yeah,
then.
I
We'll be
think
ready
it'd
to
be
go.
be really cool. The music was really engaging and really exciting. It was another one of those games when I was playing it, Max would say, "That music's so awesome." I'm like, "Yeah, I know. It's really great." The two main protagonists, they are queer. I admit that probably for me bumps it up in the rankings, but I'm gonna own it and whatever. It's my ranking, so get over it.
I'm over it.
It would probably be a little bit higher. Maybe it would maybe sneak into number two for me. But some of the dialogue every once in a while was just a little. There was a tonal shift that would happen really drastically. Like it would drop some f bombs,
Oh.
and I would say, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Interesting." And
Not that you care, but it just like took you out of it. It was
I
just
don't,
not.
exactly. I don't care one bit about it at all. I'm not a prude or anything like that. But yeah, there were a couple f bombs. There was one time a c bomb dropped, and I was like, "Whoa!" I was not expecting to read that.
We were just talking about dinner.
I know.
I'm just kidding.
I know. So, but outside of that, and there were a couple of, I had read that there were a couple of bugs, and it was still going through some many updates. It actually went through an update in the middle while I was playing it. So like it was like version 1.7 or 1.8 and now I'm playing version 2.0. And after this 2.0 update, it never crashed.
Oh, nice.
It never crashed. So I think they
You
probably
played it on
fixed that.
Steam Deck? What did you play it on?
I played it on my Steam Deck. It's only available on PC for now.
That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah, it's an excellent fast game. I think about you, and if it's complex enough in terms of the gameplay, and I think so. There are some individual aspects where you can upgrade each spell
Yeah.
if you have, but you can do it for each person. So you essentially you might gain some spells if you fight a boss, like your weapons might react, and you might gain a spell that way.
That's cool.
Or if you have a number of different crafting items, you can go to a shop and upgrade your spell. You don't lose the lower level spell, you keep it, and then you can upgrade to a high level spell as well.
Oh. Are you doing a mini convince me to play right now?
Oh no, not at all. I was just thinking that
No,
maybe
I
it's
would
not.
totally play it.
I was just thinking it may not be as complex because you do like a lot of synergy in like
I can get past
battles.
that. I can get past that. No, my only thing that I'm trying to figure out is I guess I would play it on my computer with my probably just with my Xbox controller or something.
Probably.
But yeah, which is easy to do. Cool.
Yeah.
No, that sounds fun. I should check that out.
Yeah, you should. What about your number two, Sam?
This might be a shocker, but my number two for me, number two for 2024, I went with Metaphor Refantasio. So not number one. That's the shocking aspect for
That
myself.
is.
Okay. So, what did I like about this game? So much. I love this game, and I don't want because I put it number two. I will explain why. I don't want to um, say that it's bad anyway. It's fantastic. So good. So, story wise, is really a high point for me, which is as we've been going over, shocking. You
Yes.
know, and it's peak fantasy type things, and it's but also kind of cool. The grotesque like the gauntlet runners with like arms. Just some of the aesthetics are really really cool.
Hmm.
um, likable characters who really endeared themselves to you. I cared what happened to these people. I cared about spending time with them to advance their story. So, in these Persona type games and now Metaphor and you advance your rank with people and that gives you additional, boosts and buffs. And quite honestly, some of those upgrades or buffs were I was going to talk to them because I wanted to advance the story more than I cared about the upgrade, which is saying something. The music is awesome. That chanting, driving beat of the attack theme will be stuck in my head probably forever. Love it. We've gone over all these things, I guess, in
Yeah.
a review just last episode. But the visuals, character models, archetypes, the menus, oh my gosh, the menus, all stylized and beautiful. The enemy models being so kind of grotesque and unique, as we chatted about. The gameplay loop is really fun. You want to talk to people, like I said, and advance the story. You want to advance your royal virtues. You want to go to the bounty place and get a bounty and go out and do small dungeons. That's all, very fun. And then you're overall increasing your strength to go to these larger dungeons and then advance the story. So awesome, just fantastic. But why is it not number one? I guess for me, this could change though. That's the thing, is I haven't finished it, but so far the stuff that I was talking about, that kind of depth of gameplay that I'm just not getting that here. I feel like I pick the right archetypes for a dungeon, and then that's kind of the main thing I pick, right? Like I pick their strongest weapons because you can only equip weapons for each archetype, so you pick the strongest one you have.
Yeah.
You maybe inherit a skill if you think you think you need some magic spell. You make sure you have the right classes, and then you're probably going to do fine in that dungeon. I hear there is a difficulty spike later, and maybe I'll have to try to use the systems more, but I don't know that there's that many systems to use. Like looking at the synergy attacks, I think will be important maybe later, but like if I lost a battle, I would just think, okay, I need to make sure I have a different archetype, and that might be as far as I think. I'm not going to say I need to equip this item and I need to add this skill and I need to do this. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm coming from. I just don't know that that gameplay is in depth enough for me to make it my number one.
Fair.
Anyway, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah. My number two is surprising to me, and I think it might be surprising to you as well, considering we did not have the most glowing review of this game. But as you know, I was thinking, I think the distance from it and also playing Metaphor right now has made my heart grow fonder with this
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
I have more perspective, I think, now. Sorry, I'm not even saying what the game is. It's Persona 3 Reload.
Reload. Is it fair to
Yeah,
say we might have been a little over it after like 80 or 90 hours when we did the review?
absolutely.
I think it's fair to say that we were a little over it at the moment, and
Yeah.
maybe it's a little long in the tooth. But yes, looking back on it, yeah, the heart grows fonder, maybe.
So you agree to an extent, like it's a good game. Objectively, it's a good game.
I agree. Absolutely. And yeah, and even yeah, playing Metaphor, I see the positives from that one even sometimes compared to Metaphor. I'm like
I
I'm
do, I do too. There,
yeah.
had you asked me in January what my game of the year was going to be, I would have probably said Persona 3 because it
Yeah.
had so much hype. And not that I'm the biggest Persona boy. I've only played 5 and 4 and in that order. Though I was quite aware of 3 and I tried it. I just thought it was going to be my number one game of the year and it's still quite great. There's every reason why this game should be my game of the year because of the incredible graphics, I think the really fun gameplay, the incredible music, and engaging enough story. I think for me, one, it like a lot of Atlas games tend to do, sometimes it overstayed its welcome. Maybe that's on me for spending too much like grinding time. Maybe it's also not on me. There's
I
the
think it's on them.
I think it's a little on them also. There's the this is turning into another Persona Bash session.
As
Uh-oh.
it's as your second overall for the year.
I know, right? I was like, this game sucks. I No, I mean, there's literally every reason why it should be my game of the year. I think the calendar system was a little, if it could be a little bit more loosey goosey, like Metaphor, it would probably be in number one. There's a Kotaku article from I think 2011, 2012, talking about the original Persona 3, which basically calls this Buffy the Vampire Slayer meets Persona. So totally true. The only way that could be more true is if they released the female main character for Persona 3 Reload, which I gotta tell you, I would play. I would play again with the female character.
I would.
I totally would. Even though the gameplay and the story would, for the most part, be the same, I would do that for the different dialogue. So yeah, I mean, it's for anybody who didn't listen to our maybe extra judgy episode on Persona 3 Reloaded. It's every right to have to be someone's game of the year for 2024. I expect that it is for a
Yeah.
number of people.
Go back and listen to see how judgy we are of
Go
Persona.
back and see. Oh no, I think yeah, I think you nailed it. We probably should have taken a month off before we reviewed it.
Maybe so. Honestly. No, well, I don't know if that logistically works for us, but I could see the positives of that.
But yeah, it. I was shocked, but there's no way that I could really objectively put Beloved Rapture above Persona 3.
Okay.
And I say that with so much respect and love for that game and for the developer. But Persona 3 is a titan,
Yeah.
and they did so many things incredibly well.
I don't think you have to apologize. You're putting all of these in your top games of the year,
It's
right?
true.
You're complimenting every one of them. So to throw out some more compliments to some games that didn't quite make the top five, but things that we still liked a lot, we'll chat about some honorable mentions for the year.
Heck yeah.
So for me, this one might be a little bit out of left field, but Pikmin 4 for me, I really liked Pikmin 4. I think I played it right after Persona 3 Reload, and so it was kind of the perfect palate cleanser. It's just this cutesy, fun game that's not difficult. There are minor RPG elements. You can upgrade your doggo Pikmin. Like you have a doggy Pikmin that you ride, and you could upgrade them to carry more Pikmin into whatever. And he barks, and it's just so cute. And you're tiny, and you're going around the world, and you pick up, big fruit and other items, and that's fun. And I had never played a Pikmin game, so kind of this whole management of your Pikmin and timing and how do I get here across the level? How do I maximize what I'm doing? I thought was going to be stressful for me, but it really wasn't, and it was fun. So that's all I'll say about that. Persona 3 Reload is on my honorable mentions. Loved it. Everything you said, the visuals, the aesthetics, the music, all of that was a lot of fun. Just not quite top five for me. And then maybe a different one also. I'm just going to throw all these left fielders. But we did
Yeah.
an episode on Costume Quest, and it was just simple and sweet and fun. And I don't think I stopped smiling the whole time I was playing it. And the combat is so simple. You would
Yes.
never guess from this entire review of these other games that I would like this. It is too simple. The different classes are basically all the same. Everything is so simple, but it's very crunchy and tactile. And there's the button pressing, timed mechanics of the turn-based fighting too, which was engaging and fun. And it was very short and kind of bite-sized. So
Yeah.
yeah, had I spent 80 or 90 hours with it, I would be so over it.
Oof.
But for 10 hours or whatever I played it, it was fun. So those are my honorable mentions for 2024.
Those are some great honorable mentions. I thought about putting
Thank you.
Costume Quest as an honorable mention
It's so
also.
cute.
It was very cute. I am excited that we're going to do Costume Quest 2 this coming October for Halloween 2025. So, some of my honorable mentions, I will start with Shadows of Adam. I slept on this game when it was released back in, I think 2014, 2016. I can't remember now. Maybe Sam checked that out, see when it was
Okay.
released. It's a
Calculating.
calculating beat bop boop bitty beep boop boop. It was released when
I'm bad at this says initial release date February 23rd, 2017.
2017. Cool, cool, cool. It's an excellent traditional turn-based RPG. It's about 20 hours. It's nothing overly spectacular, but it was fun gameplay. It was a fairly engrossing story, engaging story, probably the better word to use. Yeah, it was really fun. The next one that gets my honorable mention, and I really wish I could have put this in my top five. It is Bloomtown, a different story.
I'm shocked this one isn't in your top five. When you first started talking about it, you couldn't stop talking about it.
I know, I know. In some ways, Bloomtown is also kind of my biggest disappointment of the year in a lot of ways. So okay, the I know super sad face. I know. Catch a bubble. The the music, the music's my favorite of the year. Favorite music of the game of all games this year. Really,
Wow.
the battle music is just as good as Persona 5 battle music. And
Wow.
it truly is, Sam. And the gameplay itself is fun. It's in my honorable mentions and not my top five for two reasons. One, I think in some ways, it lacked originality. Like, I don't know how Atlas has not maybe sued them because you're literally demon catching and the background music is acid jazz. It's so Persona-esque that it really feels like it's bordering on like infringement, you know. But
Yeah.
I can get past that. This next thing, I feel silly for this, but and I realized that they are not an English company, so they were having to work through translating as well. And I'm sure that a lot of these have been fixed in updates and patches, but there were far too many spelling errors and syntax errors in the dialogue. And I can kind of say ha 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 for like one of those if this was a game that was made in the 90s, where updates don't happen, But this was put out in 2024. There were far too many spelling errors that just took me out of the moment.
That's too
So
bad. It's
yeah,
A Japanese developer and publisher and stuff.
no, it's Russia or
Oh,
Russia adjacent. I forget the exact country.
okay. Sorry to put you on the spot on that one. Let me
No,
look
no,
it up.
no, that's okay.
Calculating.
Please calculate.
You keep talking.
Well, I said what I said about Bloomtown. It's my honorable mention. I'm sad that it's not in my top five. If the developers are listening, thanks for doing your work on this. I just wish that someone could have done one more go through on the script.
That's just kind of shocking.
I know. I say that, and it's not like I'm the best writer in the world either. Like I'm not judging them. It's just if I were going to put out a video game, I would make sure that there would be as few errors as possible in the dialogue.
Yeah, that's well, okay. Well, anyway, I can't find the.
Oh, that's okay.
It's
That's
fine.
fine. They
Well,
did a
but
great
anyway,
job.
I
Eh,
yeah.
I know.
Eh,
Eh,
eh, eh.
I have one more honorable mention, and I think this one, I guarantee it would be in my top five if I had played it for more than 5 hours. And by 5 hours, I mean literally 15 minutes. I played it last night, and I've been looking forward to it. So, Beyond Galaxyland. This is Star Wars meets classic Final Fantasy with like a little bit of monster taming. It is a sci-fi RPG. It's turn-based. It's right up your alley, Sam. Like it's literally sci-fi RPG.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, I'll after this episode, I'll tell you more about it. It looks so cool. We I'm just gonna say it. We're gonna review Beyond Galaxyland at some point in the next season.
We make a lot of promises on the games we're going to review.
And we've
Just-
kept a lot of promises, darn it. We've kept them promises. We have. I mean, we're not doing the Cthulhu until next episode, so we reversed that. But other than that, we've kept our promises.
Okay, okay. Sorry.
So that's okay. So, Sam, dooga 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 drum roll. What is your number one game of 2024?
My number one game of 2024 is Unicorn Overlord. So this was actually a 2024 game, which is good. This game was great for me. It checked so many boxes. So, visual. This was a just such a different and unique game gameplay wise. But I'll start with the visuals though. So it's gorgeous. It's a Vanillaware game. It looks very similar, kind of to 13 Sentinels and other games that they've done before. So you kind of have this watercolor, I would call it, painting aesthetic with very vibrant lighting effects and great attack animations. So the gameplay is kind of programmed attacks of one group versus another on a battlefield. It'll kind of be like first my, person will attack on their initiative and do this attack unless and they'll attack the front row first if there's two people or more, or they'll attack the back row if there's an archer, or they'll like there's all these different kind of gambits, I guess is what they're called in what is it, Final Fantasy 12 or whatever that
Yeah.
one is. So you're basically programming how you want the unit to act. And it's so unique and so cool, and there's so much customizability to that. There are 60 different characters with dozens of classes, and then you combine them into units of up to five different characters. And then there'll be multiple different units on each map at a given time. And when they interact with another enemy unit, they'll battle each other. And so, based on the way you've programmed it and the equipment that you've put on all your characters, they will play it out. And so, it's just really unique. It's really fun. You really want to experiment with it and try different ways. And the way it shows you that, oh, if you attack here and you do that battle, if you use this unit, you will, win and you'll do this much damage. Or if you use this one, you'll lose. And then it's like, okay, why is that happening? And then you can delve into how you have it programmed, and it's just so thought provoking and really intellectually stimulating, and I loved it. So story wise, it was fun, just kind of pretty classic fantasy storyline, nothing too exciting, but if, passable. And then yeah, I know. A lot of gaming quality of life in there. You can speed up the battles. You can fast forward dialogue if you want to. You can fast travel anywhere on the map. And then also kind of in the overworld, there's a lot of things to explore. You collect a bunch of different items that you can upgrade cities with and get different collect different items, and I think there's three different currencies that you can upgrade your characters with. So again, the exploration along with upgrading based on what you collect, and then the depth of the gameplay, just top tier for me.
Cool.
and in addition to the visuals and everything else. So I that really clicked with me. I think a lot of people when they first played this game, there was some buzz for kind of game of the year. I don't think it's on any game of the year 2024 lists, but
Hmm.
for me, it really clicked. It fits the things I like in a game, and so for me, it is my top game of 2024.
Nice. I knew it. I totally knew it was going to be
Did you know
you.
that?
I did. I knew you loved that game so much.
You knew I was going to pick it over Metaphor?
I had a good feeling that you were going to do that.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Metaphor because I think if I get to the end of it, this could change, but we'll see.
Totally. Don't feel too bad because my number one is Metaphor, Refantasio.
Woo!
I know, and everything that you said, everything that you liked, applies for me as well. Yeah, I like the story. I like the political intrigue. I love the character models. I like the fantasy aspect. I dig the archetype system as well. Obviously, we can't talk about an Atlas game without complimenting the UI and like the menus. Oh my god, they're so beautiful.
It's crazy. Why? How would that be part of like your favorite game? But they're so good that it is.
They're so good that it is. They're so fantastic. The I like the gameplay. I think the metaphor gameplay is complex enough for me. You don't think it's complex enough for you. So different opinions right there. You're not wrong. But I was like, oh wow, it feels perfectly complex for me. I'm not bored with it, but I'm also not overwhelmed with it.
That makes sense.
There's also, it's an Atlas game, so there's a good chance it might have a calendar system, and it does, but it's not nearly as rigid as the Persona games. And I like that I don't feel locked into the quote unquote right answer. Like my character progression isn't locked behind that. They're going to
Yeah.
progress no matter what, so you really get to immerse yourself in how you feel like the character would answer, even if it's not the answer that's going to get you the most like magic magla. You get points. I already forget what they
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Magla and yeah.
Magla. So yeah,
That's how I
my
say it.
number one is Metaphor Refantasio. So that game popped up twice on our
Twice.
top five.
I mean, yeah, no, I agree with you too that I think the kind of stressful aspect of choosing which dialogue to pick, whatever, it's maybe some of that's on metaphor, but for myself, I think a lot of the decreased stress is my own mindset change. I was just like, I don't care. I've been through some Persona games before. I've seen that, you can watch a million videos about all these other people that optimized everything, and that's good for them. Fantastic. If I want to try a second playthrough and try to get on the top difficulty, maybe I'll do that. But that's not worth the stress in the time consuming nature of looking up a guide for every time I say hello to
Anything.
somebody. It's like, no, not going to do that.
I know, and Atlas does even the Persona games. They have an option where you can play it on not even like story mode, but they just have an easy mode where you don't need to min max everything to enjoy the story and get through the story. And for the most part, get the quote unquote good ending. And like Persona 3, I hear Metaphor has a very obvious which answer do you want, the good ending or the bad ending kind of thing.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I hear it's pretty obvious. It wasn't as obvious in Persona 4, I'll say that.
Okay.
That one would be if we ever play. I hear they're remaking it, so I'm sure in 2026 or whenever that's released, we'll probably play it. That one might be one where we need a guide to help us get the good ending. But we'll get
Oh,
there when we get there. Sam, are there other games that you feel like you've missed out on in 2024 that you either want to play because you want to play or you feel like we should cover because now we're a video game podcast?
good question. Um,
Thank you.
I I do think of some. It's interesting, looking even back at our what games are we most excited about for 2024. There's a
Hmm.
few that I never even played. Like I downloaded Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. You played a little bit of that. I heard
Yeah.
some questionable things about it. I still have it downloaded. I'd want to give it a try. I hear I hear it's got some issues, but I never ended up playing it. I think Deca Police was one that I had put on there, and I never ended up playing it. I don't even remember hearing much about it this year. So it's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
interesting looking back. One that I know I definitely would want to play would be Yakuza Infinite Wealth. So I think the Yakuza games would be right up my alley. I know there is a pretty big time commitment to them, but I really think I would like the quirky kind of nature, but also the turn-based. That's very well refined. I think I would like it a lot. So
I had a blast with Like a Dragon, with Yakuza Like a Dragon, and
yeah, and
yeah,
I think Infinite Wealth is supposed to be very in the same vein.
yeah.
Metal Slug Tactics. I think I put that on the 2024 anticipated games. And that one heard good things about.
Yeah.
I've heard only good things. I was worried about that one being just oh, we're gonna use the Metal Slug name, but I've heard that it's really good actually. So that one I kind of want to dig into from a tactical, to scratch the tactical itch. There's an interesting mechanic with that one that um, this is a little bit of an aside,
Hmm.
but you know how I guess in Metal Slug games you're always scrolling, right? And you're moving and stuff. So based on you get like a additional something by moving your character more. So so many tactical games you don't want to overextend. You don't want to move too much. You don't want to whatever. But there's an incentive in this game to move more because that goes along with the concept of Metal Slug that you're moving constantly. And
Oh,
I thought that's
cool.
kind of cool. Yeah. Anyway, so those would be fun. How about you? Anything that kind of stands out that we overlooked or would want to definitely play at some point, but because we are busy adults, we get to when we get to?
Busy, busy adults. I played the first Final Fantasy remake, so I think I owe it to myself to play Final Fantasy Rebirth. At this point, I'll probably wait until the third Final Fantasy VII is out and see if I can play them without taking years between each story at this point.
I didn't even know there's a third one. I'm sorry that I'm not a PlayStation person, so I can't.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. You can't
Um,
play it for a while. Yeah, yeah. Final Fantasy VII has been chunked into three different sections now, three different
I
games.
knew the two. I didn't know there was a third one. Sorry, I'm embarrassing myself here, but
No,
that's
no,
okay.
that's fine. So I'll probably wait, but I mean, it looks beautiful. It's gotten great reviews. The other game that I would love to jump into at some point is the I think what will be the last one, Dragon Age Veilguard. Max is playing it right now. It looks gorgeous. The gameplay, Max has sold me on the gameplay. Your party size has dropped from 4 people to 3 people.
Okay.
And I love a bigger party up to 5 or 6 people. So
Yeah.
I'm sad that it's dropped to 3, but it does seem fairly streamlined at this point. I
Okay.
think Time Magazine and Time Magazine has had questionable People of the Year, Movie of the Year, Game of the Year anyway, but Time Magazine, I think this is the right publication, said Dragon Age Veilguard is their Game of the Year.
Oh,
Yeah. So a lot of folks out there are liking it. I know it's gotten some pushback in some circles, but I think I'm gonna play it at some point. Are you checking?
okay.
Are you double checking my?
Time Magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we can't have you slander Time Magazine.
their publication slanders themselves.
Yeah, it's their number one.
Interesting. Yeah.
Followed, followed by Astrobot at number two, which I actually did hear good things about if you like
Oh.
platforms. And
Oh.
then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then Silent Hill 2, which you've also played and didn't put on this list. And then Neva. Am I throwing you under the bus
Why
there?
would I put Silent Hill's not a RPG? We can't put it on the list.
Oh.
Did you goof?
Does it have to be an RPG?
For our RPG podcast, yeah.
Just whatever.
You're a gaming podcast.
I put Pikmin 4, but technically there are some RPG elements, so it counts.
I know, that's why I let it slide. I saw the script before we started reading from it. If
You, you have a character who has a little bit of a story, and you can upgrade things. I'm gonna call it kind of
you,
an.
it does. It has RPG things. I looked it up. It's got some RPG elements.
Good, good. Okay,
It's
great.
it's good, Sam.
Okay,
So
alrighty.
I think both of us are going to say metaphor, but outside of that, what else are you playing right now?
Wonderful. Yes, Metaphor. I have so much more to play still, and I'm excited to do so. But I got a little bit left of the Xenoblade 3 DLC that I mentioned, and
Mhm.
then one that I've downloaded that I really wanted to play still is SteamWorld Heist 2. I want to play that game, so I will.
Exciting. Yep, also playing Metaphor. I am gonna jump back into Dragon Quest 3 here in a little bit, probably at the end of the month. I, you and I both have to play Call of Cthulhu, or sorry, not Call of Cthulhu. Cthulhu Saves Christmas over the in the next week or so, since we're going to review that. So we'll say we're both playing that too. But Beyond Galaxyland is what I'm most excited to jump into. That's my favorite one so far. I'm hoping that I don't get Bloomtowned with it.
Oh no,
I
it's a
know
verb now.
it sure is. Oh no. Well, I hope Bloomtown's not gonna follow us on social media, but you, dear listener, certainly can follow us on social media. You can follow us on Instagram at Turnbased Besties. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever the hell you get those podcasts, baby. We are there. Truly, go to our Instagram. We have like 90 followers. Damn it, get us to 100. We're
We
gonna
have
get
so
100.
many good reels that I make.
We have so many. We have some good reels that Sam has made.
And sometimes singing songs that I have created out of whole cloth,
Sam's crawly
parody
sprawly
songs.
reel, or not? Yeah, Sam's crawly sprawliness that has gotten the most views on our Instagram.
It,
So
it did.
go check out some live sprawly crawly if you want. If any of the games that we talked about were also in your top 5 games of 2024, or
If they weren't,
if they didn't mention one, let us know. Send us an email at turnbasedbesties@gmail.com. Check out our next episode. We'll release it probably on or around Christmas. It'll
love
be
it.
Cthulhu Saves Christmas. And that'll end season 1 of Turn Based Besties, but more on that in the next episode because then we have some possibly new big things to talk about for the next season. But we'll save that for the next episode.
Sounds good.
Giant thanks for everyone who has just been with us on this journey so far. I love going on this lovely gaming adventure with you, Samuel.
So, as we say, when everything in the world points right, maybe go left and see what you find. I'm Sam.
And I'm DJ, and this has been another episode of Turn Based Besties. Bye.
Bye.